know, my name is Devaki, and we have these wonderful, beautiful, very talented, oh, there are some highs happening from the back, women here with us. Of course, you know Swastika. She has impressed us in a way that we would love to hate her and hate to love her. And Anvitaa Dutt. Do we have a third mic by any chance? You do. Please do.
Hello, good morning. Sorry for doing this to you. Subah subah bitha diya. And you guys have waited also for us. Sorry for that also. And just to say, I'm really impressed to be here that I got called to talk to educated people.
I think you must also take the credit, Anvitaa. Itne sare youngsters have been impressed with the kind of work that both of you have, pulled off so beautifully. You know, so yesterday somebody was saying that every time I look at Kala, I feel like I am watching paintings floating.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much.
Which is so beautiful. So that's where I heard in one of your interviews where you were saying that what I see in my head, I want people to see it through my films. And so I want to ask you this question that, how do you see this kind of world? Because I think my brother had used this interesting word. He said that there's a magical realism in movies that you create. But इतनी खूबसूरत दुनिया आपको कैसे दिखती है? Usually what you see is just so like.
Actually, दुनिया है बहुत खूबसूरत. If you just stand here and see, look at these people. Each one is as unique as a fingerprint. Each one has a life that belongs only to them. Each one is magical and filled with potential. They're all going to be something, someone. Hopefully good human beings, kind, generous, wonderful. That is beautiful. They're surrounded, there's green behind. पीछे वो लाल फूल भी हैं, बहुत सुंदर हैं. It's just, and what we are creating a system for all of them to enable them to become whatever they want to become. Hopefully whatever they want to become, and not because their mummy was something. So, or their dad, for that matter. So, दुनिया है खूबसूरत, बहुत ज़्यादा. कभी ऐसे stand under a tree during the day and just look up where the leaves are at this angle. It looks like lace. If you allow yourself to see those things, दुनिया बहुत खूबसूरत.
But there's also a very unheard of contradiction in the kind of beauty that you see and the kind of pain that you feel through your characters. जो इतने fractured हैं, fragmented हैं, and still बहुत ही lyrical हैं in their pain. तो इन दोनों को साथ में रखना visually, जहाँ आप इतना पेन और इतनी ब्यूटी साथ में रखते हैं, like for an example when you see her character, she's so flawlessly beautiful, मतलब मक्खन रबड़ी लग रही है. and you see the kind of complexities that are going on in her head or Tripti's head are unmatchable because they are so relatable and they are still, and they are so full-fleshed characters. जिनको देख के लगता है कि this is how actually people feel. And you put them into a canvas which is such a fantasy, and in front of that there is so much of jealousy or insecurity or fears or stereotyping or patriarchy, or there's just so much push of that. ये दोनों को एक साथ जब आप भरते हैं तो कैनवस बहुत ही सुंदर बनता है. तो ऐसे कैनवसेस क्रिएट करने की आपकी प्रोसेस क्या होती है? If you can share, where does it begin and where does it reach? What comes first?
So the story comes first, the characters come first, and when I'm writing them, I'm not judging myself, I'm not judging them. So what you feel in your bones, the things that hurt you and bother you, so writers tend to collect that. वो रखते हैं एक कोने में उसको संभाल के, because it gets used. You use it to tell your stories. And the reason why beauty is juxtaposed with this kind of pain or brutality is one is I'm an aesthete. Beauty appeals to me. I see things a certain way. Secondly, वो पुराना स्टाइल है कि भाई किसी का दिल टूटे तो बारिश हो रही है या फिर ऐसा ना मतलब बंजर जमीन दिखा के किसी की बुरी हालत दिखाना. It works. It's not like it doesn't work. Sometimes it works, but more often than not, what happens is यहाँ पे भी जिन जिन का ब्रेकअप हुआ होगा या कुछ ऐसे मतलब दुख भरी दास्तान इनके साथ हुई होगी, ऐसा होता होगा ना. ये तो नहीं है कि उस दिन बारिश हो रही है या मौसम बहुत खराब है. Sometimes on a very beautiful day, those terrible things are happening to you. So pain doesn't wait for the weather to change. So it is all exquisite and you're hurting. So, and then what happens is it makes the pain worse. Why is the sun shining? Why is this beautiful? Why am I wearing this beautiful sari when all I want to do is burn the world down? You know? So those kind of things you use in your storytelling just to make it more effective. और उसका process बस यही है कि I think like that, I write like that. And then I have incredible people who come, who partner with me. So my production designer, Meenal Agarwal, my DOP, Siddharth Devan. I'm very fortunate, वो लोग भी मेरी तरह सोचते हैं. So what happens is I ride on the shoulders of giants. They make me look and my story better than probably what it actually is. So हम लोग बहुत सारी बातें करते हैं. I tell them what I feel. They read the script. And I usually have an idea of, while writing it, I kind of start seeing it. So I don't watch much. मैं ये Netflix and chill ज़्यादा नहीं करती. I read a lot. What that does is it exercises your imagination का muscle. The more you read, the more you can imagine. So, and I love art. So what happens is when I'm writing, I start feeling a certain kind of, for example, in Kala, the mountain house, Urmila's house, was inspired by the Dutch Golden Age artists. Okay. And the Calcutta house was inspired by Art Nouveau. So, but this is not just for the sake of beauty or, you know, कि art use करेंगे. Dutch Golden Age has a very oppressive air. It's very beautiful, but it's very oppressive. And Urmila's house I used to call, when I was writing, the house of oppression. So therefore Dutch Golden Age. The House of Delirium is where Kala loses her mind. Nouveau has a very delirious form. It's all swirls and slightly disorienting shapes. So that's why. So everything that aids the story, nothing is for, let's say, like she as a performer aids my story. She as a woman knows what it is to be vulnerable and strong at the same time, and therefore she makes the perfect Urmila, you know, and she brings grace to it, and not just physical grace, just as a person. So
I heard that when the first time when you saw her entering, you felt like here is a life lived in her eyes.
Anvitaa has made that line famous. That statement has become like a real statement now.
No, but I'm sure it's true. I mean, I had the same experience. I don't know if it is the influence of what she said, but when I looked back at how I felt when I saw you, and even the character built, it is exactly put it into like 3 words. And when one goes through your journey and your journey as an artist, it also gives you the same feeling, because a couple of years back when you kind of stopped, as you say, dancing around the trees, and when you did this transit, I want to understand what, since 2001 you have been working, so it's a huge canvas and diverse work. What pushed you to this transition of accepting roles that might scare you?
Firstly, hi and good morning, and it's lovely to be here amidst all this young energy, all here decked up in the morning. To answer your question, I have been choosing things that scare the shit out of me my entire life.
Yeah.
I mean, both personally and professionally. So, and one thing has kind of left its mark on the other bit. And I feel it's very important as an artist to constantly move out of your comfort zone
Sure.
and do things that make you work harder, use your brains more, do your research, homework, reading, writing, however you want to, develop your skills, and a lot of practice. My father used to tell me that as an artist, it's very important to observe people, observe the world around you, because everything you can't be experiencing as an individual. So yeah, I feel, in the Bengali film industry where I've been working for so long, people were very happy with whatever I was doing. I mean, they were very happy with the first take. So I had to tell them that I am not happy, so I want to give more takes. So it was just, making me feel very bored that people are just happy and, they are okay with whatever I was doing, and there's nobody there to, really push me harder. And so I thought that I should go somewhere else and start from scratch. It's difficult.
We're lucky.
It's very
that you thought that.
difficult because you have to keep your pride, ego, whoever you are, your status, everything. You have to
Aside.
leave it back home, and you have to just become zero and start from there. And I've given hundreds of auditions and got rejected.
After
And
so many years.
After so many years, so many years. But I took it very, sportingly, and felt bad, felt miserable. I used to call my father up and cry a lot.
Aw.
But yeah, and then I did a lot of good work here, and then Kala happened where I kept asking Anvitaa that ऑडिशन नहीं देना है, आपको नहीं देखना है, आपको टेस्ट नहीं लेना है. And I used to tell her this, I think for all the 5 days we met before the shoot happened, I told her every day that, are you sure you don't want to check or see anything? I don't know, she had more confidence in me than I had, but it just happened.
I see a beautiful collaboration, and not just collaboration in terms of work. I see a lot of dependency of two women, developing a beautiful tribe here. Because I see in a lot of interviews like she's holding your hand, till the end of the interview, which is just so beautiful and so nice and refreshing to see how women are being not just portrayed but actually carrying themselves, not just through their stories but even outside the stories. Anvitaa, I've heard that you say that you would like Trupti or her because they could surrender to their character to zero level. Saying that, okay, here I am and I'm a white canvas, and you pick up your colors and you can try on me. And of course they are extremely hardworking. So when somebody who has such a huge experience behind them, and sometimes also because a life lived, you also have a certain sort of clarity of what one should be and what one should not be, or what one would portray and what one would be scared of. How do you bring your characters to a place where they can be so fractured, but still it shows a first-hand experience of them that they know but they don't know while they are showing it to both of them.
So yeah, you're right. They are incredibly generous as human beings to be able to do that. Acting jobs aside, it is just generosity of spirit that you can come and trust someone whom you don't know that well and who's not that experienced. Swastika has way more experience in the industry than I do. And when she came to me, I was only one film old as a director, and then to trust me, which is incredible. So then I had to tell myself, she's not trusting me, she's trusting the script. And that is what They are honoring the story, the character, and the reason why we are telling this story. And so what that makes you feel is responsible, because now you have this person who's giving you this trust, so you have to, like a flame, you have to protect it like this throughout and just give love and just be grateful. And that's all I do. I'm not teaching them how to act or to be the character. They know that. वो इनको आता है. All I can do is make them feel safe and honor their faith in the story. And everyone brings their own, like you said, life lived to the table. What I do is when I'm writing or when I'm doing anything, even if it's a decision to say something on set, or when I'm briefing them, or when I'm working on art or costume, is to be honest. Honest enough sometimes to even say, अच्छा ये मुझे नहीं आता, ये आता है. So whatever I know, I will try to do to the best of my ability. See, we can't all be great at everything. There are some people like that. All of us are not like that. कुछ चीजें हमें आती हैं, उस पे we have to work hard. So I have to bring in that much mehnat again, like they are very excellent, and generosity and faith. I have to bring that much humility and hard work to the table. So we all try to be the best versions of ourselves, love ourselves, and
But
love
is
the
there a
people we love.
process to it? Like, do you take them through that experience while you were directing? Like, do you break them down to a level where they can be so vulnerable, or do you put them to a reading journey or a visual journey, or like, is there anything?
We are very broken. She doesn't need to break us anymore.
Yeah.
So did you search for that then?
No, it's just there, not dikhta hai.
The life lived.
The life lived.
The only thing that I do is I talk to them. I talk to them for days. I talk to them about their lives. I talk to them about my life, and then we build the character's life from the earliest memory. So I ask, for example, I would ask Swastika or Tripti or Amitya, do you remember your earliest memory? क्या याद है? And everybody has a different story. I think I was about 3 and I remember that I ate this, or I was wearing this, or I fell down, or this song, something. So I take that memory and make it the character's first memory. And then I build with them everything till the point that they entered the script. So if they're 19 or 40 or 70, whatever, in the film, तब तक की सारी life हम बना लेते हैं. We don't read the script. I give them the script to read once, and once they're on board, I take the script away from them.
अच्छा.
Because then I'm like, अब ये सब important नहीं है, तुमने जिंदगी क्या जी है वो important है. And that's the process. अच्छा guys, whenever you get bored, tell me. Somebody shout out boring, तो then we can, because हम लोग आपस में बहुत ऐसे intense type बातें करेंगे. So if you get bored, call out.
Let us know.
Let us know. Okay?
Achha. While you were playing that character of Urmila, were you judgmental about her?
Tell the truth.
At times, yeah. I won't say judgmental. I just felt very bad. I felt very, very bad, very sad for Urmila and for Kala, both. So I always, on set, I was always cuddling Tripti and always, hugging her, which Anvitaa did not accept.
Making up.
Wait. I was so cruel in front of the camera. Once it was cut, I was like, okay, just always,
And she would get scolded.
Yeah, then Anvitaa
Don't
was,
touch her.
Don't touch her. Why are you sitting near her?
Yeah, like give
Why are
her
you
a
both
feeling
together?
of rejection.
Yeah, so all that used to happen. But I don't know, just the mother inside me was always screaming out loud. Yeah. That becomes overpowering at times.
I fairly heard, Swastika, somebody talking about actor nourishing themselves, which I have heard in your conversation. that it is not necessary for me to constantly be busy, constantly be replying to what I'm going to do next. Because if your output is so much in one particular project, then how do you fill yourself back again? Because otherwise तो हम उल्टी कर देते हैं, जब भी हम करते हैं इमोशन का, एक्सपीरियंस का जो भी है, तो वापस कैसे भरेंगे? So there might be a lot of people here who might benefit from that fact, that how do you nourish yourself? What goes into creating you, that then you are ready enough to surrender to the director when you reach that stage, or when do you, with what process, and eventually how do you know that now I am ready to do this again?
See, I feel the more you think about all this, the more complicated it looks and feels.
Okay.
I genuinely believe it's not important to always go, every day you don't need to wake up and go for shooting. And interviews में बहुत बार ये पूछा जाता है कि आपके pipeline में क्या है?
I know.
So I just say that I'm not an engineer or a mechanic, and I don't have a pipe. Or a line or stuff to put inside it. So I am an artist, and of course this is my bread and butter. My house runs on this, so earning money is important. But utna bhi important nahi hai that I leave everything aside and I just work like a machine every day. So yeah, I wait for scripts that really excite me as an actor, and at times I wait for quite a long time. It gets to you. Like one fine day you feel that, oh my God, I have not worked for the last 4 months, and my savings are all vanishing. So yeah, kuch karte hain. Then I'll call my manager 5 times, I'll call agency people 5 more times. But वो एक ही दिन होता है जब I get little flustered. Otherwise, I read, I do a lot of Netflix and chill and other platforms also. I watch a lot of work that is happening all over the world. I go and spend time with my school friends. I go and spend time with my daughter. So eat, put on weight, so that some work comes and I feel motivated enough to lose all that extra weight. So yeah, I'm always becoming fatter and not fat. I mean, I'm never slim, but yeah.
Always beautiful.
Always beautiful.
Yeah, and now Anvitaa has told me this so many times throughout Kala happened, after Kala happened. And because I used to just tell her that Anvitaa, so many layers of clothing, and whenever I used to see Tripti, I'm like, I will look like a buffalo beside her.
Oh.
And yeah, because we were wearing so many warm clothes, and I was not doing much of work when Kala happened. So मैं घर में बैठ के ऐसे ही I was having aloo paratha and all of that, so I put on a lot of weight. And suddenly Anvitaa called and said, we are shooting, we will start shooting in the next 1 week. There was no time to hit the gym and do whatever. So that I felt worried about how I'm going to look on screen at times. But in whichever condition, maybe I was really crying and I was haggard. Anvitaa used to keep on telling me, you are looking out of the world, you're looking stunning. So that is what I believe now. So I have just.
But that's true.
I used to
She
say
really
how
wanted to look barbad. That was a code word for us.
I used to be like, can you look a little more barbad? She's like, how much more barbad can
I was like, there's no makeup on my face, my hair is all over, it's not been touched, set. What do you want me to do now? Like I have to put makeup and look barbad. She's like, no, but can you look? I said, no. इससे ज़्यादा नहीं होगा. This is the ultimate barbad that I can look. So yeah.
Anvitaa, I got to know that the music was done in 3 days in Goa.
4. There was some amount of going for massage and going to shacks. So therefore 4 days.
Now this is one of the most stunning albums we have heard in the recent time, guys. Kala? And let me also tell you that Anvitaa, I've not seen her phone, but I know that she has a WhatsApp group. which has Varun Grover on it, and Amitabh Bhattacharya on it, and Swanand Kirkire on it, and Kausar Munir on it. And 5 of them, they write certain lines of each other's songs also. So when they have a new, so the competition वाला ज़माना जो है वो पुराना ज़माना है. This is a world of collab. So many talents coming together and collaborating consistently. And दो तो उनमें से उनके building में अब रह रहे हैं. So they are पड़ोसी and then they are friends. And क्योंकि she has been a lyricist and she had no song in Bulbul. And then she has also been a dialogue writer and there were really few dialogues in Bulbul. So these 4 people were teasing her, saying कि यारे तेरी picture में तो गाने ही नहीं है. So इस बार she chose and she gave one song to each of them and she had one song. So how did you brief them about your songs? एक तो तुम्हारे दोस्त हैं, फिर सब अच्छा लिखते हैं. And how do you tell good writers how to write good for you?
You don't. You never tell. You don't keep a dog and bark yourself. Right? The reason you curate talented people to come and work with you on a film is so that your film gets better. Now, I'm not going to tell them how to write.
Correct.
Or what to write. I can give them the story. So also because I've been a lyricist, so वो जो कला में भी situations हैं कि लोग मजनू को बता रहे कि ये काम नहीं करता है. Those are all from actual situations.
Right.
And that those are in jokes.
Right.
So I was actually very, very lucky and grateful because these are very, very big lyricists and they never do just one song in an album.
They do solos.
They do solos and I used full emotional blackmail. मैंने पूरा advantage लिया उनका और मैंने बोला यार मेरी picture है मेरे लिए नहीं करोगे and they happily. So imagine which album, this has never happened. These lyricists of such 4 big lyricists have come together to work on a single album and they only did it for love. And all I did was, I gave them the script to read. And I would just tell them, is Samena, this is what she's feeling. That's it. So what you hear is the first draft. Not one word has been changed, which is why it happened in 4 days. All the songs were composed. त्रिवेदी की कोई धुन ना change हुई, ना bounce हुई, ना reject हुई. Same with the lyrics. जो बनाया वो picture में है.
So I heard Varun was saying कि यारे ये तो पहले draft में हाँ बोल रही है, पक्का कुछ गड़बड़ है.
So he actually wrote an optional antara. I made it the second antara, which everybody was like very jealous. They was like इसके एक तो इतना अच्छा गाना है, best गाना उसको मिला. ऊपर से उसको दूसरा अंतरा भी मिल गया. मैं क्या वो उसने option लिखा उसको मिल गया. So it was like that only. We just we said ना ऐसे होना चाहिए जो every time we would bitch, we would be like ऐसे क्यों नहीं समझते क्यों नहीं है डायरेक्टर. So we just tried to do it like that, our ideal situation.
Correct.
And because we tend to do that, we have that WhatsApp group. So हम में से कोई भी अगर अटक जाता है किसी गाने में, हम ग्रुप पे मैसेज करते हैं यार ये गाना है, ये मैं यूज़ कर रहा हूँ, इसके लिए कोई वर्ड, इसके लिए कोई लाइन. तो हम सब के गानों में कहीं ना कहीं हम सब की राइटिंग है. So this was our opportunity. So we're contemporaries. We're a village. We're a tribe.
Sure.
It's such a lonely job.
Writing.
Actually, it's just lonely being for everyone. So it's important to build villages around you of people who respect you for who you are. They can see your flaws, but they are okay with it. The people that you can be you with all the time. जो आपको pretend नहीं करना, आप जैसे हैं वैसे हैं. The people whose eyes light up when you walk into the room. Build villages around you with those people. Even if it's that one person, surround yourself with people like that. That is what will nourish you. That will make you feel brave, strong, protected, safe. So build villages. I built mine. I have some छोटे-छोटे मेरे 3-4 गांव हैं. थोड़ा ऐसे जमींदारी है मेरी. तो मेरे 3-4 गांव हैं. I have a group which is with writers, which is Vikramaditya Motwani, Sudeep Sharma, Akshat Verma, Devashish Makhija, Abhishek Chaube. That is one village. These are the people whenever we write anything, however terrible it might be, we send it to each other. Batao kya hai, kya theek karu. So we do that with each other. When we make a film, the first cut, which is the most scary thing to show to anybody, we show to each other and we take it on the chin. You know, when they tell us, ये ठीक करो, ये क्या करती है, क्या कर रही है, या क्या कर रहा है. The same with the lyricist group. So I have two villages, but then I'm also older than you. I'm 51. So तुम्हारे पास time है, गांव बसाइए, take over the world, one village at a time.
सजनिया के मन में इनकार है, सैया क्यों घोड़े पे सवार है. The song before the scene at the terrace and after has such a different and diverse meaning to the song and to the film. And like when you see that scene, you get choked in the throat and it stays with you for about 30-35 days. Because you are also a lyricist and you are so attached to the kind of music that you create, and then you put a scene in between and then use the song like that. Was there always an idea that the song needs to know that?
Yes. It was always going to be a fun song.
Yeah.
ऐसे वाला?
Yeah.
Reel wala.
हाँ.
Reel वाला गाना.
Reel wala गाना.
Reel वाला गाना.
Insta reel वाला गाना होने वाला था.
और मत बनाओ please हाँ. I am so tired sharing reels on that song.
कोई झाड़ू लगा रहा है.
I mean, it's dogs, horses, cows, cats, human beings, babies, older women, daddies, nannies, mama, mami, everything has happened. I'm like, I can't hear that song anymore. Can't now.
Yeah, so it was always going to be a fun song, but it was going to be insidious. It was going to actually talk about consent, always. It was there in the script. So, yeah, it was designed like that.
And before we open the session for question answers, one very important question that I have, that there's such a huge focus on mental health in the film. And you know, they said that there was a time when सबसे ज़्यादा literature जो है वो एक ही subject पे लिखा गया था, women. But the entire literature was written by men and their perception of what they think of women.
Hysteria.
Correct. So from there to today, when we see women like you writing films and then also directing them, and so many other women that you're collaborating with into making the film possible, how important it is for you to, while you would also do things ahead, to keep this as a center, because it's so less spoken about, especially for women. Because मर्दों में तो आप ये भी बोल देते हो कि अरे नेचर ही है, गुस्सा करता है तो स्वभाव है उसका, ये करता है वो करता है, अरे ठीक है. But with women it gets so stereotyped कि औरतें तो ऐसी ही होती हैं, rather than understanding while you're going through menopause or while you were having a postpartum depression or so many other things that would follow just because of hormones, and apart from that, the mental health issue itself.
You're right. The gaze on women's mental health has been like that, but you know, guys, depression, anxiety is gender agnostic. वो ना किसी का biological setup देख के नहीं आता, तो वो किसी को भी हो सकता है. There is nothing to be ashamed of. There is nothing to be afraid of. तो इसीलिए again villages are required. Talk to people. People don't talk about it enough. अभी भी shame है to admit. I've gone through it. I did not talk about it, and it was not good, you know. And which is why. So it's not like it was important within this story to do this. The story exists because I wanted to talk about it. Bulbul was about domestic abuse. This is about mental health, and the fact that we don't talk about it and because we don't talk about it, we don't know how to articulate it. हमें समझाना नहीं आता, बताना नहीं आता. The chances are somebody is not going to listen to it, or they're going to, या तो घबराहट हो रही होती है आपको, यार sad feel करिए, बाहर जाना, why don't you step out, let's go to the beauty parlor, और picture देखने चलते हैं, drink के लिए मिलते हैं, sorry dry state, but coffee is also a drink. So तुम मूड ठीक कर अपना. No, it's a chemical imbalance. And anything can trigger it and make it worse. Talk about it because it can get better. You know, and that was the reason for the story. Kala does not know how to articulate it. The pathology of the neurosis. So that's why it was important that little things can spiral into. I used to, for the research, I was talking to the psychoanalyst, and she told me tiny thing like not being picked up enough as a child before the age of 5 will lead to a woman most likely in their 30s and 40s to suffer from depression. Such a small thing, you know. So it's important to talk about these things. It's important. एक को बता दो, सबको मत बताओ. चाहे यही बताओ कि मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा मेरे साथ क्या हो रहा है, मुझे अभी बात नहीं करनी, so at least the red flags go up. And if someone calls up or says that to you in passing, be there for that person. बात करो उससे. It's like I started off by saying it's a beautiful life, but there's also pain and cruelty on a daily basis. छोटी छोटी चीजें that make you feel small, that diminish you. Protect yourself. सब लोग आपको बोलेंगे दूसरों को प्यार करो, दूसरों का ख्याल रखो. नहीं. It's not selfish. Love yourself. फ्लाइट में नहीं बोलते हैं कि ऑक्सीजन का दबाव कम होगा तो मास्क पहले अपने मुंह पे लगाइए. Even if you have a child, people traveling with a child, they say पहले अपने मुंह पे लगाइए, then put it on your child, on your child's face. So mask अपने मुंह पे लगाओ. Look after yourself, protect yourself, love yourself. You are amazing. पता है कितने सारे मॉलिक्यूल्स, एटम्स इकट्ठे होके एक ही बार ही हुआ है. जो तुम्हारे साथ तुम्हारी बॉडी में हो रहा है वो किसी के बॉडी के साथ नहीं हुआ. Millions of years things had to pan out a certain way for all of you to be just you. So it's very important to protect that for the rest of your life. Start doing it now. Okay? And if you do that, if you keep yourself safe, you will also have the grace to turn to someone and say, पता है क्या, I'm not okay, there's something wrong, can you help me? And get that help, and that's why this story is important.
And I would also like to add that for women, depression and anxiety and however bad you're feeling has nothing to do with your menstrual cycle.
Yes.
Because whenever we try to say something, people have slammed us with the statement कि महीने के वो दिन चल रहे हैं.
Period cycle.
Yeah. So it has nothing to do with our period.
But also the conversation while you are going through your menopause or while you are going through PCOD or so many other issues are not spoken about at all, because nobody goes home and says, now next 4 years I will need your help. Let's sit across the table and discuss what all I will go through, the worthlessness that I'm going to feel and how I need my family's help in getting out of it.
May I just add something to that? This is for the guys.
Yeah.
You know, it's terrible for them because they are expected to be strong all the time. You know, at least a woman owns up to the fact that she is vulnerable. Men, especially in this country, have been conditioned to be strong and brave and कि अरे छोटे से बच्चे को बोलते हैं अरे you're a boy, मर्द है, रोते नहीं हैं. No, it's so bad. They are told that they have to be strong for their sisters. They are told that they have to be strong for their parents. They are told that they have to look after everyone. They have to be breadwinners. It's so hard. That's terrible pressure on the men to be strong all the time. they're just people. They are just going through the same kind of stuff that we are going through in different shapes and forms, but that is also a kind of pressure. And it is okay to feel terrible and okay to feel vulnerable and okay to ask for help. So please, I love you guys too. If you don't go by my films, मुझे
मत पसंद है.
just going into dangerous territory. But yes, people, human beings, so wonderful. Love you all.
Is there anybody in the audience who has a question? Oh, Pawan sir.
Brilliant team, very good. Very happy to see them and listen to them. दो चीजें, एक तो आपने ये कहा कि बहुत सारी चीजें सब कुछ सब नहीं जान सकते हैं और वो आप एक्सेप्ट करते हैं. वो सबके लिए आसान नहीं होता है. जितना मुझे पता है उतना ही करेंगे वो लोग करते हैं. और उसमें एक और चीज़ है कि जो आप नहीं जानती हैं या कम जानती हैं उसका एहसास होना और फिर बेस्ट लोगों को लाना उसमें टू डू दैट, तो वो भी आपकी एक ब्रिलियंस है दैट यू कैन टैप पीपल विद दैट काइंड ऑफ. वो भी एक आई वुड लाइक टू गेट द टीम टुगेदर, यू नो, और टू हैव अ फेथ वेयर यू हैव नॉट वर्क विद हर एंड शी केप्ट सेइंग. सो दूसरी चीज लिरिक्स का एक सवाल ये कि जब माना कि आपके गांव के हैं सब और पर आर्टिस्ट तो आर्टिस्ट है, आपने कहा कि आपने सबको एक एक स्क्रिप्ट दे दी और उन्होंने पढ़ी और आपने फिर बोला होगा ये वाले सीन में इस सिचुएशन में आप लिखो, इस सिचुएशन में वो लिखे. व्हाट इफ रीडिंग द स्क्रिप्ट दैट पर्सन फेल्ट यार यहाँ पर मुझे गाना समझ में आ रहा है, मैं लिखना चाहूंगा, तो हाउ डिड यू टैकल दैट?
No, that actually, it's a good question. That didn't happen. It was so funny. आज भी in fact मेरे पास जो files हैं जिसपे melodies जो त्रिवेदी ने बनाई थी, it's still called, and even in the script it was called Kausar song, Varun song. So you're right. That was my clarity of belief that इस गाने के लिए ये
तो आपका गाना पर सामने वाला कह सकता है यार इस सिचुएशन में मेरे पास एक गाना नहीं निकला है. So it's difficult. It's not so easy.
No, but that also comes again. These are very secure people, you know. So they trusted.
No, I'm only talking about artists.
Artists.
The artists.
ये हम सब forget about एक. ये हम सब के साथ हुआ. तो जब वरुण का गाना शौक बिखरने का मुझको शौक है बड़ा जो
They can see.
वो जो गाना था उसकी धुन जब मेरे पास वीडियो भी है, आई विल शो इट टू यू सर बाद में. तो हम गाना सुन रहे हैं, उस दिन वरुण नहीं था कमरे में, भी वर इन गोवा, कौसर मैं स्वानंद वी आर सिटिंग लाइक दिस और हम लोग म्यूजिक सुन रहे हैं, तुरुरुरुरुम तुरुम 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 लाइक पूरा गाना चलता है और वी आर स्वेइंग लाइक वी आर ऑन अ बोट. लिरिक्स अभी लिखे नहीं थे. And then Kausar, Swanand and I have looked at each other and we're like, my God, this is so beautiful. And then immediately we have said, वरुण को सबसे अच्छा गाना मिला. ये क्या मतलब होता है? तो कौसर ने कहा तुम लिख दो. स्वानंद ने कहा वो है भी नहीं, तुम डायरेक्टर हो, तुम उसको वो अपनी वाली धुन दे देना और फिर बोलना ये तुम्हारे लिए. I was like नहीं यार, you know डायरेक्टर से ज्यादा सेल्फिश कोई नहीं होता. So you are like मुझे अपनी पिक्चर के लिए करना है, अपने लिए नहीं करना है.
That's it. वो selfishness जायज है. That's for the betterment of the project.
So and वरुण ने भी सुन के बोला अरे मुझे सबसे अच्छा गाना मिला. कमीना. वो सबसे अच्छा गाना वरुण का था. मेलोडी भी very jealous.
एक सिनेमा से हटकर सवाल जो आप बात कर रहे थे, हमें लगता है कि हम समझते हैं कि आर्टिस्ट हैं, राइटर हैं, ऐसा नहीं है. सब लोग आप लोगों ने जैसे डिप्रेशन की जब बात कर रहे थे, नॉट दैट कि आप एनकाउंटर हुआ हो तो शायद मुझे पता होना चाहिए, पर आपने जब जैसे कहा दो चीज़ें आपने एक साथ कही तो थोड़ी कॉन्ट्रडिक्टरी लगी मुझे, पर वो ऑफ कोर्स हैंडलिंग कैसे the person who's going through that says, I don't feel like talking. And you are saying, talk to them. So the first thing is, leave them alone. Because the person doesn't feel like talking, and you are saying, talk to them. So I would feel कि यार कोई बोल रहा है मुझसे बात मत करो. Maybe मैं और उसको बढ़ा दूँ उनकी problems को. That I want to say.
You're right. Leave them alone or abandoning में फर्क होता है. हम क्या करते हैं? We are like we step back. तो वो कह रहे हैं मुझे डर लग रहा है, मुझे अंधेरे से डर लगता है, पर मुझे रोशनी नहीं चाहिए. पर आप दिया सलाई और मोमबत्ती लेकर पास खड़े रहे, उसको समवेयर पता है that the possibility of light exists because you are there. Just that.
Hi, may I ask a question? Sorry guys. My name is विजय विक्रम सिंह और बहुत ही अच्छा सेशन था, बहुत मज़ा आ रहा था. एक बातचीत जो हुई डिप्रेशन को लेकर, वो मेरे दिल के काफ़ी करीब है क्योंकि मैं खुद डिप्रेशन का शिकार रहा हूँ और एक ज़माने में डिप्रेशन के साथ साथ अल्कोहलिज्म और मरते. मेरा सवाल ये है कि एज अ फिल्म मेकर और एज समवन हु हैज सफर्ड, you are probably coming from a space of empathy. But आजकल अवेयरनेस आ गई है तो लोग सिंपथाइज बहुत करने लगे और डिप्रेशन के मरीज को सिंपथी नहीं चाहिए, एम्पैथी चाहिए. हाउ डू यू मेक श्योर दैट एज अ फिल्म मेकर हम एम्पैथी के ही स्पेस से आए और हमारे जो कलाकार हैं वो भी एम्पैथी के ही स्पेस से आए, ना कि सिंपथाइज करें, तो एक ट्रीटमेंट का फर्क हो जाता है. सो इज देयर एन एफर्ट टू मेक everyone realize that this is the space we want to come from and not sympathize with the character of the person?
So what you said pehle, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you. Yes.
It's wonderful. And yes, it's because I come from a place of empathy and not sympathy. I'm trying to do that, but सबको realize हो, I think चाहे एक को भी realize हो ना, मेरा काम हो गया. तो hope I can never be that ambitious or arrogant to believe that I can change even 10 people or make somebody feel what I'm feeling. So attempt is कि जो मुझे लगता है feel होता है, that I'm trying to put it out there. Even if one person feels it, even if they can't articulate it, I'm trying to articulate it for them. I'm trying to, which is why I'm using less words. I'm not using language so much to communicate, but feeling. Because what it feels like to spiral. सबका अलग होता है, experience अलग होता है. I'm just trying to make you feel like that and therefore empathize. The only thing that I tell people when I say that to build the empathy muscle is again read. Read fiction. You imagine yourself in other people's lives and other people's situations, which is why you will have empathy. But that is at a human level. I'm not talking about just mental health as a person. एक study हुई थी, crime rate के ऊपर. They realized that crime rate was less in towns in the world where library subscriptions were the most. तो जहाँ लोग कहानियाँ पढ़ते हैं वहाँ crime भी कम होता है because आपके पास अब imagination है और empathy है.
Thank you so much. And just one last thing to add to the depression bit. लोगों की बड़ी complaint होती है कि अरे उसको देख के तो कभी नहीं लगा कि वो डिप्रेस है. डिप्रेस आदमी को देख के कभी नहीं लगेगा कि वो डिप्रेस्ड है. वो इनफैक्ट विल मेक एन एक्स्ट्रा एफर्ट टू मेक श्योर कि किसी को पता ना चले. थैंक यू सो मच.
In fact, in parties, the most lively person can be very lonely inside. As
Yes.
possible.
Yes.
I just want to say congratulations on this amazing film. बहुत ही मज़ा आया था. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of magic realism in cinema. myself. I just love the skill, I love the craft, and it transports you to another life, even though it's got to do with something so simple like human emotions and empathy, and even the process is actually very simple, like you said. My thing to actually just get into the whole tribe of women collaborating with each other is that I'm also in that little frame of finding that frequency of women collaborators where it's not performative, where you are actually there because you have lived that life and that experience, and it's not a narrative coming from a man or for a woman of how it should be, and where it is just for what it is, to simplify it and not to complicate that now this needs attention and that's how it should be performed a certain way. And I hope that changes, for all of us actually. We are good collaborators with each other. We want to simplify things. We want to say good stories, which is relatable for generations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, can we have students to ask some questions? And let's stick to a question, okay? Not a statement, a question.
Compliment दे सकते हो.
Hello. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
So my
You don't have to stand, Baba. It's
No, but
better.
I think it's a little bit for respect.
Oh.
No, that's okay.
बैठ जा, बैठ के बात कर.
As an artist and a writer who creates such beautiful yet very heavy pieces for the crowd, is it difficult for you to separate yourself from the characters you play or the characters you write? Because it can fully consume you sometimes. How do you separate yourself from the work you create?
Actually, that's why we write, because paper जो है ना absorbent होता है, so it soaks it up and it makes it manageable size. I said 12-point size का pen. It's easy to manage. So it's the other way. In fact, it's not that you need to distance yourself from the material. You create the material because you're moved by an emotion and you want it to be of a size that you can deal with, whether it's your anger or pain or empathy or whatever, because you feel so much, you put it on paper. That's it. इतने से size का emotion can be dealt with.
Thank you.
उसके लिए तो partners ढूंढे, curate किए.
Yeah, give it to the next question. Yeah.
हाँ, ask उसकी.
The girl, हाँ, आपके बाद ये yellow कुर्ता वाली जो लड़की है. That will be the last question. Sorry. हाँ, tell me.
Yeah, so first I want to compliment both of you. With Swastika ma'am, I found you with Patalo, which is very late, but I'm so glad that I found you.
I'm also so glad that people have finally
Found
woken
me.
up that I exist. Because after Patalok released, the success and all the feedback that was coming in, people were mostly asking and writing things like, where were you all this while? मैं तो यहीं पे थी.
Yes,
हिंदी
it's
में
our
काम
loss.
जितना, I mean, until and unless हिंदी में आप काम करो, वो आप दिखते नहीं. So,
Yeah, it's my loss. I found you late.
thank you that you have found me finally.
And you shared one article that I wrote. It was about artist versus the human, which really made my month. It was on Facebook. So,
Okay.
with Anvitaa ji, I really like to congratulate on Bulbul, because that's the thing that is the least talk about you, and I'm very unhappy about it. Because I found it really great piece of art. So yes, we have talked a lot about Kala, and there have been many interviews about Kala. I really want to know about Bulbul. How it how
वो फिल्म में मैं नहीं थी सर.
That's like Rahul Bose always gets irritated. Why are you constantly talking about color? I'm not in it.
That's me.
नहीं आप बोल दो.
क्या जानना चाहेंगे?
How concepts है. How did it start? How was it born? कहाँ से
I think he's asking about the journey of.
यार काश ना पता होता क्योंकि वो कौन सी खिड़की है जहाँ से आइडियाज आते हैं, मैं वहीं बैठी रहती. Okay, let me. It'll not. I don't know if it'll help me.
I'll make it more concise. So it was so unique for the industry that we are in. From the cinematography, the visuals, and the concept that a Shakti is somewhere disguised beneath a Shaitan. It was a very beautifully revealed concept. So I just wanted to understand where the concept came.
Anvitaa is a person who believes everything is beautiful and she believes it with her soul. I think she just wanted us to understand that churels can also be very, very beautiful. That was the source of the inspiration when she made the film.
अब ये तुमने पूछ लिया सवाल तो मैं इसका जवाब भी दूंगी. So I was in first standard. We were posted in Assam when I was gifted my first book. It was a book for Russian fairy tales, and I realized that something like this exists. The fact that a story, which is not your life, what you're dealing with, exists, happened to me that day. And then I realized that there are more books, because also it was called The Clay Pot and Other Stories. So I said, और भी होती हैं, ऐसे और भी मिलती हैं. And then I was told yes, and then I was taken to the library in the mess, in the Air Force Station mess, and I discovered books and stories. That was the day that I started reading. तो जितनी अलमारी थी तो मुझे समझ नहीं आया. I was the first, and I didn't understand most of the word. And it became a thing for me that every 2 years my father got posted out. Okay, wherever I traveled, I would find the mess library and the school library. I would finish it. It became a thing. By the time I was about 13, I could finish it twice. I became such a fast reader because I was so hungry for stories. So what I did was I absorbed stories. I absorbed how stories worked. I absorbed the fact that actually fairy tales are cautionary tales. They're subverted in its very nature. And actually they are telling you very important things. So I decided, as my first story, I decided to tell a fable. Shakchunni, चुड़ैल, बहुत सारे नाम हैं उसके. उसकी कहानी, but actually मेरे अच्छा पैर उल्टे हैं, तो क्यों उल्टे हैं? So make it a cautionary tale about abuse. So it comes from having read fairy tales, Baba Yaga's tales from then, and realized that the witch that you are painting as the bad thing, the Disneyfied version, is actually the hero of the story. She's the educated woman, the wise woman, the doctor, the healer, you know. She is the one that we need to celebrate. She's the one who scares you because she's so powerful. So I decided as my first story, it's a very simple story. Bulbul ki kahani actually बहुत simple है. It's a straight up on paper like a revenge की कहानी. But what it's actually trying to do, because that's how fairy tales work. They're simple stories, just trying to say something important, a cautionary tale. So that's how Bulbul came into being. It came from reading hungrily all the stories that I could lay my hands on, and then discovering that out of all of this, there is a genre that I am drawn to, which is fantasy, science fiction. उसके अंदर सब आपकी फेरी टेल्स, फेबल्स, सब कुछ आ जाता है. उर्सुला ले गुइन, नील गेमन, all of them come into that category. Diana Wynne Jones, many incredible people, and they are so incredible. I'm not even a dust mote in the universe that they create, but I'm trying to just learn and emulate. That's all.
Thank you so much.
बेचारा इतना सिंपल क्वेश्चन पूछा था इसमें मैंने पूरी हिस्ट्री. Yes, yellow and black. What's your name?
Tia.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, thank you for this amazing session. And I have 2 questions. Please bear
Okay.
with me.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you. So, pehla question. You said that the base for Bulbul and Kala was domestic violence and mental health. So that I understood. But why did you pick up such a path to put up this? Like, आपने उनको sort of periodic way में convert किया, and there are many other ways to portray the same stories. So why this particular?
Why the retro? Why the retro type?
Why the retro or why in this particular format?
See, every storyteller tells their story in the way that comes naturally to them. And it comes naturally when you trust the story. Okay, so you follow the story. आप उसका हाथ पकड़ के उसके पीछे पीछे चलते हैं, ठीक है? Saying कि मेरे पास ये है, it's like a relay. Okay, so I have this, and I trust you to now do the rest. Okay, I want to talk about this. The first image that came into my mind, the story came a few minutes later, was the feet of a girl with alta and slightly dusty feet going like this under the sari. I did not know what that image was. And so then I of course knew she's Bengali. Alta tha uske पैरों पे. And I woke up and I said, okay, क्यों डर रही है, क्यों डर रही है? That's how it started. Now, if also what happens with period is कि it's like fantasy. Now it could be, the story could have been set on another planet where people are actually just blobs of light, and the story would work. Okay, the story has to work. You can set it in whichever period that you want. The story has to work. Next part of that answer is that I wanted to make a point that nothing has changed. Both with Bulbul and with Kala, nothing has changed. But the hope is दौर बदलेगा, दौर की ये पुरानी आदत है.
Okay, and the second question, please. How did you come up with
Yeah,
that?
Swastika से पूछो, she's very good at answering. I'm very bad. I was the bad student. मैं तुम्हारी तरह पढ़ी लिखी नहीं हूँ. अच्छा, quickly ask your question.
How did you come up with characters like Kala, Urmila ji, and even characters in Bulbul? Because all of them are very unique. Even Babel's character, for that matter, all of them are very unique. And how did you come up with them?
So I didn't come up with them in the sense, I started this session by saying all of you are as unique as fingerprints. There is no one like you. No one. So how can my characters be like other people? They are like you. They're unique. ये उनकी लाइफ है, ये उनकी कहानी है, इनके जैसा कोई नहीं है. At the same time, they're universal. But their feeling is universal, but they are original and unique, like all of you. Even if they're wearing identical white jackets and completely not interested in this session. They're like, हम लोग पढ़ाई में बहुत अच्छे हैं, why are they talking about stories?
Anvitaa, I
Still
think,
not here.
I think this is where we have to wrap it. But I must say that when somebody like you also says "Gulabo Gandh Phela Do" and also creates a kala, what a match! I must say, क्या segue है. So it's a wonderful fact that we have you in our generation to kind of experience all this gandh and all this kala with you. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you guys have.
Thank you.